Hey everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Lucy Bolger, and I'm the subject coordinator for the placement subject that your student that you will be joining you on placement will be participating in class called Music Therapy Prac 3, and it's the subject for our second year first semester students who'll be joining you on placement this semester. I want to start by thanking you all so much for taking the time to invest in our students this semester, for contributing so importantly to their learning, particularly at this really complex juncture for our profession. I know that it's a really challenging time for everyone, and your commitment to sharing your wisdom and expertise with the next generation of music therapists is incredibly important and really greatly appreciated, especially at this complex time. With that said, we want you to know that we're here to support you if there's anything that we can do to offer support during this time, and certainly in relation to our students and supporting them and their work with you this semester. Please don't hesitate to reach out at any time. Myself and Jodie, who I'm sure you've been in touch with, are here, and it is our job to be in conversation with you throughout semester. So please be in touch. We don't want to take too much of your time unnecessarily, but we are here anytime that you'd like to have a conversation. I also want to acknowledge that I'm joining you from South Bank campus here, which is on the traditional lands of the Boonwurrung people and the Woiwurrung people of the Kulin Nation. And I want to pay my respects to the elders of this community, past and present, and recognise that sovereignty of this land has never been ceded. I want to just really recognise, as we work throughout the country on stolen land in the juncture between health and music, that Aboriginal Australians have been working in this space of music for health and healing for millennia now, and that we are joining this long tradition of music as a health resource that has been enacted on this land and is still enacted on this land through that continuing culture of music for health and healing through our Indigenous neighbours throughout the country. So welcome. Thank you so much again for your time. This video is hopefully going to be very brief and just here to give you some overview of the expectations and communications that we'll be having with you and students throughout semester. So our students are coming to you having done one past placement and their SimPrac time. And so they have some experience in the workplace. And this semester, we'll be hoping to work towards students having the chance to lead the planning and the facilitation of sections of sessions, moving into whole sessions towards the end of semester. So each student is at a different stage in their learning journey. This is a process that happens over the 2 years. So we don't expect students to be fully fledged music therapists yet. They are learning. They are learning how to integrate the different elements of the course into the real world environment with you. But some people will do that in different ways and will be further along or integrating it differently. So we're trusting you to bring your skills as therapists to your relationship with your student, to understand where they are at in their journey and how to best get the most out of them in terms of integrating their learning into practice environment that you work in. So remembering that by the end of this year, these students will be ready to graduate and that they are on that journey now. What we do expect from our students is that they conduct themselves in a professional way, that they are timely, that they are good communicators, that they present themselves professionally for your work environment, and of course, that they are prepared and ready to engage and learn to the best of their ability at this time. So what I would say is that with the breadth of environments and different workplace cultures that music therapists work in now, there is please don't assume that students will know what timeliness, communication, and appropriate dress and presentation look like in your setting. Please have an overt conversation about your expectations on these important professional skills early in placement, because with students coming from their own work experiences and cultural experiences, and also understanding that there are varied work environments that we all work in now, there isn't a specific and uniform professional professional way of presenting that students can conform to. So please let people know exactly what you're expecting from them, so that they can meet that expectation for you. We'll also say that, that we are hoping that we believe that students should be ready to start taking an active role in session, and that you can trust them that while they are learning and while they might not be perfect at all times, they can safely start doing that process with participants in your workplace. But if you have any concerns or questions about your students' progress, we find that an early and timely sort of input often in collaboration with us can be helpful. So don't hesitate to reach out, and we can make a sort of coordinated troubleshooting response together. And also we encourage you to use the process. So obviously in your initial placement planning session, you can have some of those expectation setting conversations and get an understanding of how you're going to work together. In the mid-semester placement feedback form, you have the chance to speak about what students are doing well, and also places where they still have some room for growth. And it is useful to be clear and explicit about that, whilst also being kind and fair. So we often find that students benefit from having really set clear goals of what your expectation, what you would like to see them do in the second half of semester to demonstrate that they are ready to move on to the next stage of practice learning. So some clear goals for the kinds of capacities you would like to see are a really useful way to use that form and process. And we encourage you to be quite, to negotiate those quite explicitly with the students. So by the end of placement, I'd like to see you having done this and this and this. Let's work towards those. That can be a really useful and concrete way for students to learn. And then of course, your feedback at the end of semester will help round out students' learning and give them a sense of how their progress has evolved over semester. And that's your last opportunity to give them some really concrete feedback on their progress. We do have 2 assignments throughout semester that are directly related to their case-based learning. So that is the work that they do with you. So students will be encouraged to discuss and navigate that with you. You're not expected to grade or to necessarily input into those in an overt way, but just so you're aware that the assignment learning that we do in MT Prac 3 is directly related to the work that you're doing in real cases in practice. Talking about workload, students have a huge workload of assignments throughout for the course, for the masters. It is a high, it's quite a high expectation. There is assignments most weeks that students are working on, as well as being present in placement. So we do ask that you don't set additional workplace assignments for students that you expect them to deliver and work on outside of their hours with you, because they truly do not have time for that. And we worry about student burnout when they are trying to satisfy and meet our expectations and your own. It can lead to some challenging prioritization for students. So if you do want them to do a particular assignment-based, work for them, please make time for that in the workday, as you would do if you were in a work environment. Please don't set assignments and expect them to come back having done pages of work for you, because they will not be able to do that in the timeframes that we have. Okay, everyone. These are just a couple of little things to get you started with your students and to help you sort of start and think about having those conversations to hit the ground running when your students come on site with you. Thank you again so much for your time. My Zoom door is always open, and I'm happy to have a conversation with you about how things are tracking, or if you have a quick query or a question about anything that arises. That's what I'm here for, so please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Jody. Thanks for your time, everyone, and I hope you have a fantastic semester with our students.